Hey, the content used in this video is intended for educational and informational purposes only. All rights to the images, music, clips, and other materials used belong to their respective owners. I do not claim ownership over any third-party content used in this video. Let's get to the video, dog.
Jackson residents, it is with great disappointment that I come before you. My legal team has informed me that federal prosecutors have in fact indicted me on bribery and related charges. To be clear, I have never accepted a bribe of any type. As mayor, I have always acted in the best interest of the citizens of Jackson. We believe this to be a political prosecution against me, primarily designed to destroy my credibility and reputation within the community. There is no coincidence in its timing being just before the upcoming mayoral race. My legal team will vigorously defend me against these charges. Again, while I am disappointed, I am not deterred. So I ask for your patience and your prayers during this process. Thank you.
Well, I can tell you, Troy, it was a dramatic scene inside and outside the courtroom. Inside the courtroom, we saw the mayor, the DA, and councilman from Ward 6 all standing side by side next to their lawyers as they all pleaded not guilty to the federal charges. Now, the mayor and the DA is potentially looking at spending the rest of their lives in prison if they're convicted on these serious felony charges.
These two guys were elected by the people of Jackson, in Hinds County to do jobs. And what they did and said was try to enrich themselves on the backs of the people in a city where there's a mama crying over her kid's corpse every 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they did. So that's a crime against all of us. I'm sorry.
Karma's a MFer, and it's coming back to get Jody Owens. I don't have any pity for these MFers. I'm trying not to cuss. I have no pity for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for their families. They're going to get to experience behind bars what Anthony had to experience for damn near 2 years. Being illegally in prison. He said they ain't going to be illegally or wrongfully in prison. They're going right where the hell they deserve to be. Now, let me quote Samuel L. Jackson. Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
You must consider your families. Take it from an old man. They have small children. A lot of people who are walking with them, stabbing them in the back. Once they get time, they won't see or hear them anymore in their life. Consider your families.
Hey, yo, baby D, get your little ass over here on the mic, man. Show these other little niggas they can't fuck with the Dangerous Crew, man. Spit that shit.
Shit on gold chain, gold glasses, prime time like Dion.
Hey, can't do the Quan, do the Dion. You hear me?
He don't speak on me, I don't compete with a peon. Flying a bundle like my name was Dion.
Well, I can tell you, Troy, it was a dramatic scene inside and outside the courtroom. Inside the courtroom, we saw the mayor, the DA, and councilman from Ward 6 all standing side by side next to their lawyers as they all pleaded not guilty to the federal charges. Now, the mayor and the DA is potentially looking at spending the rest of their lives in prison if they're convicted on these serious felony charges. A show of force from Mayor Chokwe Andrew Lumumba as several top city officials joined the mayor from the walk to City Hall to the federal courthouse, where the mayor faced an initial court appearance on a number of serious felonies. According to court documents unsealed Thursday, Mayor Lumumba indicted on 5 charges, including money laundering, racketeering, and wire fraud. Hinds County DA Jody Owens is indicted on 8 counts, including money laundering, wire fraud, and racketeering. And Jackson Ward 6 Councilman Aaron Banks facing 2 charges, conspiracy and bribery. According to federal investigators, the months-long conspiracy started late last year and continued into the spring of 2024. This past April, Mayor Lumumba, Owens, and Shariq Barbet-Smith went to Fort Lauderdale, Florida on a private jet paid for by the FBI on behalf of the developers who were actually undercover FBI agents. According to the indictment, that's where Mayor Lumumba accepted a $50,000 bribe, which came from Owens to the developers. The money was given in the form of 5 $10,000 campaign donation checks that supposedly came from Owens and Smith. That was part of the cover so that the mayor wouldn't be accused of violating state campaign finance laws. According to the document, the mayor understood that the money from the developers was given in exchange for the mayor directing his subordinates to move up the date for an RFQ, a request for quote submission deadline, on the hotel project. A few days later, Mayor Lumumba placed a phone call to the unnamed city employee where he directed them to move that deadline. According to the indictment, when Owens introduced the mayor to the, quote, developers 2 months earlier, Owens told the mayor, quote, I've done my background checks, and they're not FBI, by the way. In a January meeting with the developers, Councilman Banks told the developers he needed $50,000 as soon as possible in exchange for his future vote in favor of the developers' project. About a month later, they gave Banks an initial payment of $10,000 in cash through DA Owens. Banks later told the developers he would, quote, make sure they got the votes of certain council members. Banks also got a security detail and a job for one of his family members. The charges against the 3 men and former Councilwoman Angelique Lee, who resigned 3 months ago and pleaded guilty to bribery and conspiracy charges, sprang from a fictitious plan by undercover FBI agents posing as developers from Nashville, Tennessee, who said they wanted to develop a hotel on the 7-acre plot of land across the street from the Jackson Convention Complex. Well, it has, in fact, been a very dramatic day here at the federal courthouse for Angelique Lee. She spent much of the day before 2 different judges, a magistrate and the chief district judge. She told the judge that she knew right from wrong and that it was wrong for her to take bribes. Now, here is what prosecutors accuses her of doing. According to that bill of criminal information, Lee accepted cash, deposits, and other gifts from an unnamed person described as unindicted co-conspirator A. The documents say Lee agreed to shut down a road and vote to approve a real estate development for a hotel at the Jackson Convention Complex. The fictitious deal involved 2 undercover FBI agents who pretended to be real estate developers from Nashville, Tennessee, who wanted to invest in that project. Now, Lee agreed to have the road, which was unnamed in the court documents, to be closed, and she would later cast votes at the council meeting in favor of that hotel development, again in exchange for thousands of dollars. Now, according to the document, this past February, Lee accepted $10,000 in electronic transfer to pay off a portion of her campaign debt. And then in March, she took $3,000 for personal use. Also in March, the undercover agents described as confidential human source 1 and 2 allowed Lee to use their credit card to spend $6,000 at a luxury retail store in Jackson. Federal prosecutors say Lee funneled some of the money to a bank account owned or controlled by that unindicted co-conspirator. We spoke with her attorney outside the courthouse after she pleaded guilty.
Good people make bad decisions at times, but I must say that for her to come in and take full responsibility for her actions says a lot about her and her character. And so this is a tough chapter for her, and hopefully this is the beginning phases of rehabilitating her character for her constituents and for the people of Jackson, and she wishes the city continued growth and success.
Now, Lee will remain free on a $10,000 unsecured bond. She's scheduled to be sentenced on November 13th. Federal prosecutors filed that sentencing recommendation under seal, so we don't know how much time they're recommending or any possible jail time they're recommending for her guilty plea this afternoon. I can tell you that Chief Judge Dan Jordan reminded Lee that by pleading guilty and agreeing to be sentenced, she will give up her right to vote, her right to serve on a jury, and indeed her right to serve in public office. deaths, rather a turn of events for a woman who just 1 day ago was Jackson's city councilwoman, Ward 2. A year ago in October 2023, when Owens was running for re-election, he developed a scheme to bribe Jackson public officials after Owens and others went on a trip to Nashville on a private jet paid for by the FBI. Owens was, quote, ready, willing, and predisposed to engage in bribery, they say. Owens told the developers that he and Smith, quote, own enough of the city that he had a, quote, bag of effing information on all city councilmen that allowed him to get votes approved. While D.A. Owens was engaged in bribing city officials, he was worried about getting caught and having to face the music for his conduct. After he wired money to Lee's account, he wanted to make sure the money went directly to the owner of her debt because, quote, that's the only way I want the paper trail to look. Owens said, quote, because there's one thing at the end of the day, my most important job is keeping everybody out of jail or prison because I'm not effing going. And that is just some of the information that prosecutors have laid out against the three men in that 32-page indictment, with, in some cases, some very salacious details, some very salacious things that the DA says he was involved in purchasing. And you can read that full indictment on our website. By the way, we did not hear from Councilman Banks or his attorney as they left the courtroom. And prosecutors, or rather the judge, set trial for January 6th of next year, just 3 months from now. For now, we are live at the federal courthouse in downtown. Ross Adams, 16 WAPT News.
It's Chokwe moved up to the top. This moves to the top of the list for the foreseeable future.
The New York Times even picked it up. Did you see that? You sent it to me.
Yeah,
you sent it to me. Yeah, I mean,
New York Times picked it up.
I mean, this thing is good. This is the biggest story out of Jackson probably ever, I would think.
Ever.
Yeah.
This is bigger than Frank Melton.
Mhm.
This is bigger than Louis Armstrong.
Yep.
All that stuff. Mood in Jackson was different yesterday.
Yeah.
The mood was different. People felt like, man, there's hope.
There was a lot of people over at Martin. It was like, the Martin's like the town square. It really is become the town square. And every little Politico was in there talking about this. And I mean, it's the, it's definitely something.
Up in the streets, and you hear the same thing over and over and over for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Bro, it's probably true. What was it? Cat Williams or Chris? Was it Cat Williams talked about Whitney Houston? There was rumors of her smoking crack. He said, when they say you smoke crack for the last 20 years, smoke your kneecaps loose. And I mean, I'm getting the wording a little wrong here. Don't quote me 100% on it, but something to that extent. He's like, sometimes it ain't a rumor, sometimes it's true. Long story short, and I believe it to be true that Chokwe's involved with the dope boys.
And Ben, I'm gonna tell you something else. From the streets here, Ben, I could just sit down with you and tell you a bunch of stuff, just me and you talking. But man, let me tell you something, man. Rumors about he's been seen at the dope house, kind of got his head covered up a little bit and doing his little thing. It's like you do something in Rankin County, then you run to Jackson, you hire nobody gonna say nothing, but people start talking now. The people that don't talk is the ones that's doing the wrong stuff are either scared they're gonna get hurt.
Yeah, 100%, man. I've been saying it for years.
While he's riding around doing that, buying his little dope and all that kind of stuff, he needs to be riding all these streets. Actually, I think that's what a mayor needs to do: ride around the streets and check off these streets that need to be fixed and all the trash everywhere.
Some of the quotes from here. I mean, this is where
I do.
This is where there ain't no rhyme or reason to this today, guys. We were just taking our victory lap. Sean, have fun with some quotes. I'm gonna pull up Sister Rakia outside the courthouse yesterday while you're doing that.
Yeah, sure. We've got a ton of really good quotes. One here is from Jody Owens, where he says, if someone comes into this is all, by the way, y'all, in the indictment, so you can read it for yourself. You can go, it's on Jackson Jambalaya, WABT, Magnolia Tribune. They've all got copies of it. Because if someone comes into my MFN house safe, my MFN safe, it's $1 million in cash. It's $1 million. You know what? If they come into my house, it reads like D.A. Owens had 20 grand in cash. Regular people who vote for me, who give me $10 or $100, they can't count that much money. But guess what? In my safe at my DA office, I got $1 million in cash. Guess what? Your effing 10 grand don't matter. Your 15 grand don't matter. I got $1 million there. First of all, it sounds like he's making fun of his voters. One thing.
100%.
I mean, and talking about he's got they didn't find, by the way, they did not find $1 million in the DA safe when they went and raided it. So that was not accurate. I guess maybe that's the locker room talk. You know, I mean, then he says something here. You know, Owens cautioned the FBI informants that if they gave Lumumba $100,000 directly, then everybody goes to jail. And that's why they wanted to put it in his safe at the district attorney's office, where he says, end quote, mix it with the dope money and drug money and more than $1 million
to launder it.
And that's when he says, I don't give a S where the money comes from. It can come from blood diamonds in Africa. I don't give a F and S. I'm the whole DA. F that S. Sorry, so much cuss words. I'm trying to stop myself.
Yeah.
My job, as I understand it, with little paperwork, is to get this deal done, get it done most effectively. We can take dope boy money. If anybody doesn't want a dope boy as a drug dealer, dope boy money. I don't give a S, but I need to clean it and spread it. I can do it here. That's why we have businesses to clean the money, right? I don't give a S. You give us cash, we deposit it, give it back that way. It's that easy. He's talking about washing money. Yeah. I mean, there are little pictures, y'all, of Chokwe and Jody on a yacht taking money. I mean, what else do you need? There are pictures that the FBI they actually put it in the indictment of these two nincompoops taking freaking money.
Like, one word I never wanted to use to describe us as nincompoops.
That's the best thing. I'm trying to be radio friendly, you know. I mean, I really want to say something else, but
effing idiots.
I want to say what Jody said in this indictment, like the words he used, which we get to that. But it's I mean, these guys are sitting there. I looked, actually, you know, the first time I looked at the photo when Jody takes the money out of the bag, couldn't see it clearly. Then last night I was like, oh, that's him with a big stack of cash.
Yeah,
you can see it clearly. And you know, man, I never want to photograph Clay of me holding $50,000 in cash, because I don't want anybody to see that, even if it's legitimate. You know, just there's no photograph of that. But yeah, I mean, they've got the photographs and the recordings.
Tell people the quote about fixing trials.
Yeah, he said something, and I don't have it up right now, but I can paraphrase it. He said something basically, I'm the DA, and all the law enforcement brings the stuff to me, and people need help, and I can fix cases. Yeah. He's claiming that he's fixing cases.
I don't want to steal your thunder here.
Yeah,
we got to tell what Jody's best line of this about the undercover agents.
The best line is when he's going to dinner with Chokwe. He says, don't worry, man. I've background these guys. They're definitely not FBI agents.
He background checked the undercover agents' fake identities, and decided they weren't undercover agents.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I mean, talk about. Oh God!
Is this the district attorney of Hinds County? The whole county?
Yeah,
the whole damn county.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I was talking to somebody yesterday. I said, they said, if I ever lean over to you and say, hey, these guys are definitely not FBI agents, you have a right to punch me in the face. Because I mean, if you ever have to have that conversation, you're doing something really wrong.
I'm gonna say, the first thing that comes to mind, other than how stupid it is when it comes back to bite you in the ass, is we're obviously breaking the law if I feel the need to tell you that. And if Chokwe's sitting right there and he hears you say that and still goes along with it, he's complicit in breaking the law.
100%. Like, I mean, what? Because why else? Why would you care if you were not breaking the law? I mean, I wouldn't care. But like, and the fact that you had to background them to make sure that they were not FBI agents. It wasn't like you were backgrounding them to make sure. Like, I wonder what kind of deals they've been involved in. Are they good real estate investors? No, I specifically looked up to check if they were FBI agents or not.
Because I know I'm breaking the law.
I'm breaking the law. That's right. Just the sheer, what's the word I'm looking for here, Clay? Like arrogance that they could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's I don't know that I've ever. I mean, this is like out of a movie or something, like New Jack City. People old enough to remember that one. And
right,
I could see Chokwe's stupid ass going to trial because he's such an arrogant fuck, right? That's where I'm not gonna say. And
I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to play that video of his sister.
Yeah, he's he's gonna try to slang like it was a campaign contribution and I can do what I want. And, I mean, again, no jury's going to buy this. He's going to go to prison, and I hope he goes to trial because one, it's going to make for good content and it's going to be fun to talk about. Two, he's going to get more jail time, so he'll be locked up for longer, and so that's fine if that's what he wants to do. But to Jody, I just, if I'm Jody's lawyer and I'm sitting there I'm like, look, bro, I mean, you're effed. Let's just go make a deal, go testify against Chokwe, do whatever the federal government wants you to do, and you're gonna, take some time, but you can't go into the courtroom when you're talking about fixing cases to a jury, a Mississippi jury. That's not, and it's not a Hinds County jury, by the way, just so everybody's clear. It's a jury comprised of that district or the Southern District. They could pick from a ton of counties. And so it's not going to be just Hinds County. This is not, we always say innocent until proven guilty. No. This is different. This is a one time.
Guilty. Guilty to confirm
guilty as hell. I mean, this is the most.
So we finally, what's come out of this is we finally have a positive solution only.
We do.
And that positive solution is lock them up.
I mean, I talked to last night a bunch of old prosecutor friends of mine, and one of them, really good friend of mine, called, and he was retired now. He's upset. He said, this makes us all look bad talking about being prosecutors.
Yeah.
And he said, people are all going to think we're like this. And I said, well, what would you do if you're the judge? He said, I'd max his ass out. He's like, just for this kind of, I said, you do it worse than like a murder. He said, yeah, this is a crime against the system.
I'm rolling. So, man, I'm just gonna be genuine. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Like, when I first heard this shit, the first reaction to it was like, what? He's way too smart to be involved with some shit like this, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, when I see Chokwe, I don't know Chokwe's history. Like, apparently, they say that they went to Callaway and all this shit. But they don't strike me as typical Jackson people. Right. I would have thought that these people were, born somewhere else and came here after their father served and shit. You feel me? Because the way they carry themselves with so much class and integrity, it's kind of like when people say, you don't look like you from Lexington. Right. Like your daddy told me, you don't talk like you from Lexington. That's the same vibe I get from them. Like they came from fucking LA or fucking California or some shit. They carry themselves different, bro. So riding on the back of a father like his senior, I would expect him to know better than to do some shit like this. Because you already know by your father being associated with the Black Panther Party and all this type of stuff, you would know it's always going to be a target on my back. Because you're my offspring. Anything that you do wrong, they going to be under investigation on you. You've been under investigation since I got knocked off or before that. When I was in office, they probably were looking at you as a little kid in fucking high school trying to see if you were peddling dope or something. As a throw off for me. You feel me?
If he was in the Black Panther, they were watching him when his mom was pregnant with him.
You feel me?
Like that long.
Like they was watching Tupac and being an offspring of Afeni and the rest of these
watching
people.
Malcolm X.
You feel me?
And his family.
His kids.
Remember him in the picture with the gun?
Or what are these kids gonna do when they grow up? What's Martin Luther King's kids gonna do? Right. What's Muhammad Ali's kids gonna do when they grow up? All these people, like BMF, even Big Meech, they watching his kids, trying to see what little Demetrius is into.
That's why when the whole little movie came out, it was like,
well, I guess it's productive because you're acting instead of actually doing these things. Right. So again, I go back to say, man, like when I first seen it, I was like, man, it's a witch hunt. You know how they be saying niggas just looking for something just to try to throw off the image and perspective of the people with a black man that's powerful. I've been riding with him since back then. I was doing skits on him. Talking about
trying to support him.
Yes, man.
We get here a young progressive mayor. Man, man just back him. He leading the city good.
Let the man lead a black city.
Right.
With a black council.
Right.
And fucking black politicians in the city.
His family is like black excellence.
Yes,
it's like we saw the potential in him.
I didn't know what the streets was saying. And
right.
all this old type of rumor shit that he was doing this and doing that. If he was doing that way back then, bro, that's very discouraging to a person like me, bro, because I actually look at people like this and find inspiration and motivation in them, bro. Look at this young black dude, man, like a young Obama type figure. You feel me? But if you was doing this and masquerading in front of us like you're this type of person and you was really backdoor doing us like that, that's fucked up. And I can't stand with that, G. If you was fucking around with the dope boys and you knowing these people putting poison in the community, bruh, and you was standing behind this shit, and you the reason why, or an enabler of the reason why dope is being pushed in our communities and niggas is getting killed over drug transactions and gang shit and all this, and then you come out and masquerade in front of us like this, bro. That's some fucked up shit, bro. For the regular citizen of Jackson. That's fucked up. Because we would never expect change if the people that we expect to inflict change are working hand in hand with the criminals.
Right.
And just telling us, oh yeah, we got it. Man, listen, send 500 of them pounds over there to motherfucking Lawrence Street, motherfucker. You feel me? What do you have to say, you know what I'm saying, with that type of shit on this man name like that, man?
Well, when they first brought up the Angelique Lee, I was like, dang, really? I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, when they said like the co-conspirator A and B, I was like, well, maybe it's, I don't know who it's gonna be, but I was like, I don't know, could be him. So then here we go, a couple weeks later, and they say, oh, he's been indicted for robbery and other related charges. It's like, part of me feels like I was praying for the best with him, but low-key kind of hoping the worst. You know, it's just, he kind of sort of gives off good guy, does bad things, shiesty vibes. You know, and it's like, if you remember the movie when Ghost was the original Ghost, you know, he was a good guy. He was, you know, same thing with American Gangster. You know, giving back to the community, you know, they're having turkey giveaway, blah, 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 this and that. But then you go behind the closed doors, it's like they a whole other person. You know, so it's like, he gave off the same type of vibe. So when it happened, I was a little disappointed, but it was like I wasn't too shocked, to be honest.
Damn.
Just saying, I was like, well, I kind of can't say I didn't see this coming.
Damn.
You know, and you know what? I like Kenneth Stokes. I feel like Kenneth Stokes has a little bit of the street and a little bit of the smarts enough to have that discernment to see that somebody's not a good person. And if anybody that's been following any of this pre the actual, you know, indictments would know that Kenneth Stokes has never, ever liked the mayor. You know, and it's like, at first we were like, dang, Kenneth Stokes, they can't back up off him. Let him do what he's trying to do.
Right.
But then, it's like, why does he not like him so much? That's when you start, you know, squinting eyes and scratching heads. It's like, why would, you know, someone that was a stranger on year one to him, you know, why would he dislike him? What was the disdain? You know, what was the reason why? And maybe Kenneth Stokes could see that, or have the discernment enough to know that something's not right with him. He doesn't seem like who he is portraying to be.
Or heard whispers.
Because if the streets is talking about him being in dope houses and blah, 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 this and that, Kenneth Stokes is a councilman that's in the streets.
Facts.
He's not one that
you go down Mega Evers.
Yes.
You got Kenneth Stokes signed. Kenneth Stokes says,
is one of
Happy Valentine's Day, ladies.
In his ward.
Facts.
He is in there actively all the time. Even when he was sick even when he lost his wife, he was still in the streets.
Gave his whole life to the city.
He gave his life to the city. So if you think, if this is like really low key, the top dog in the council, people, why doesn't he like him? What is he seeing that clearly it deceived the entire city of Jackson? Because nobody saw this coming. Even the people that was like, still didn't see it coming until boom, it actually happened.
The actual general population.
Yeah.
And maybe the politicians and the street people knew what was going on, but your average citizen that's just gullible and naive, we weren't expecting criminality to come within his term.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I thought he was a upstanding guy. You know, he had the short end of the stick trying to fulfill his father's legacy.
That's it.
You know, and so when that happens, it's like, dang, I think you did that though. I'm disappointed, but I think you did that. That's how I felt with it. It was like a disappointment, but it was like, I can see it.
Yeah. I could say I could see it as well. I would have hoped not to see it because
Agreed. Yeah.
I had hope for him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, he finna show me how to maneuver. Like Jay-Z said, show him how to move in a room full of vultures.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Mm-hmm. And I was kind of looking for the end of the day conclusion to where you start to make things right in the city and show them that a black person can run it. Because remember, for a long time, they was talking about taking it over. Mm-hmm. Taking over the zoo, taking over the city.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Taking over all the economic actions that was being, done in the city. And they held strong and didn't let them come and intercept it. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, okay, well, now's your chance to show them what black people can actually do. Yeah. And for you to, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a very bad thing because it wasn't like he got caught with 500 kilos. Yeah. What he did was take a bribe for the expansion of the infrastructure of the city. He wanted to get a hotel built downtown, which is not a bad thing because you can use a hotel right beside the convention center. It's better than driving all the way to Ridgeland to the Hilton. Mm-hmm. It's better than staying at the Crown Plaza that used to be down on High Street, which may not be up to par for a lot of the big names that they bring in the city when they want to host events and stuff like that. Right. Say we get a big name, like a Oprah Winfrey. Mm-hmm. Where would Oprah Winfrey stay if she lived in the city for a couple days? You feel me? You got the Hilton right there, but is that up to par? You feel me?
That's Oprah.
So what he did was he was trying to make a move to bring more economic shit in the city, but he just went about it the wrong way by trying to influence the rest of the council members through his influence of Aaron Banks and Angelique Lee, who are other people on the council. He tried to buy them off essentially. Okay, well, I'll launder the money through them two and leverage what dirt I have on these other council people to push it on through and move the dates up and all that. And Jody Owens just so happened to be the one that the actual the people came through.
Yeah, Joe, he was the plug.
Yeah, but he was the one that they went to try to get the deal done. And that's where Chokeway came in, that's where Angelique came in, that's where Aaron Banks came in, and they were going to spread it to the rest of the council people by way of blackmail. You feel me? So it ain't 500 kilos, but it's still criminal because you need to know your legalities when you step into this position.
And I'm going to say this because this is who I am. You know, it's like I get what you're saying, and you're right. But at the end of the day, in God's eyes, if he stole $10 or if he killed 10 people, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
$10 is petty to us. Oh my God, he stole $10. You forgive him life for $10 versus, oh, he shot 10 people. Give him 10 life sentences. But on God's level, they're the same crime.
Let me play devil's advocate.
That's what I'm doing.
Let me play devil's advocate. Is bribery the same thing as stealing?
I think it's with the intent to steal. I think bribery is like the next step under stealing, in my mind. Because if you think about it, it's, maybe say, a quote unquote form of stealing. You know, but it's not like in retail, there was the intent to steal and theft. So even if we can see, oh, you done put X amount of stuff in your purse, but you haven't walked out the door yet, that's two different levels.
So who will be the victim in stealing, like bribery? Who will be the victims in this situation, in this bribery case?
The one who the money is going to be paid to. That's the victim.
The one who the money is being paid to is the victim?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how.
Because say if those dollars were marked, it's not always who that money pass hands through, but who ends up with that money in the end. Think about the same way. If it's somebody get pulled over in a car, it's 4 guys and 1 pound of weed. If whose weed is it? It's gonna hold more weight than 4 people riding with the weed. You see what I'm saying?
See, I'm looking at it from a different perspective, right? Mm-hmm. In a bribery case like this one, where you're leveraging money to buy the vote of someone to improve the infrastructure and economic situation of a city, right, I think the victim would be the person that had a counter to build a building or bring business to the city that didn't get that offer of theirs seen because somebody was paid a higher amount of money. Say it was two developers. Mm-hmm. One of them wanted to build 3 or 4 restaurants in that section.
A legitimate one.
And then one person wanted to build a hotel there. Mm-hmm. The one that wanted the hotel was able to give $100,000, in this case $50,000, to persuade the DA and the council people. And these people with these 4 restaurants that was of the city only had $20,000 that they could, maybe grease some palms with. I think they're the victims because they didn't have enough money. That's who it does a disservice to. The little person that should have been given the same old consideration to build in that same old 7-acre plot that the hotel people were supposed to get.
I agree.
That's the victims to me. I think the bribery for them comes in where you didn't give those 4 restaurants that didn't have enough money the same amount of consideration that you did. I think that's where the criminality comes in.
But same side of the same stick. That's the victim, but also you said the person that they're wanting to pay off the votes. Like, the person that would in turn cast their vote in good faith, and in turn, here you are undercutting my vote to put in something that'll push this through. That's also your victim.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
That's also a victim because this is a legitimate business. Could have been business number 2, bid number 2, a legitimate place with a legitimate, offer, bid. So if they come in and we can't put down 100K, we can't put down 50. We could probably do 25, but it was legit. You went with one that was the more, not knowing that it was a setup.
The 25 might have been illegit too.
I'm
illegitimate.
I know, but I'm just thinking.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying hypothetically,
maybe.
But that
both of them would have been wrong.
That victim would have been.
You're supposed to go with the best proposal for the area and for the city to benefit. It ain't even supposed to be about no money. That's where the bribery comes in at, because you're not supposed to accept monetary funds in hopes of pushing something on through. You're supposed to go off. You know what I'm saying?
Watch what I tell you. Mark my words. On this date, this time, it's gonna be something about that garbage coming up too.
Richard's disposal. I said that back then.
Yeah, it's gonna come out eventually. The reason what this is an
While
underlying
waste management didn't get theirs and Rich's disposal was fought so hard about.
Something
I
about
said,
that too.
but did I not say that? I said
remember
that 2 years ago.
Just to the people.
I said for you to have a lower amount given to conduct business for the city, and these people want to charge you higher, why would you go with the person that's going to charge you more money?
Right.
You feel me?
And to us,
unless somebody's palms are being greased by this deal.
Now, logically, they didn't make sense to us being citizens. Like, if they're
So
the cheaper
now-
option, why not go with them? It's not
Now-
like Jackson got a whole lot of money.
It all comes
It all
full
comes
circle.
full circle.
Somebody palms was getting greased. Now, is this waste management and Richard's disposal part of the reason why other council people that aren't in this indictment right here are feeling good now because they were undercut in the waste management? Now, could Kenneth Stokes have been getting a kickback from waste management, and when Richard's disposal got the deal through Chokeway, it pissed him off? So now I done went and turned the tables on you. I got dirt on you. So now I'm about to get you back for undercutting me on my waste management deal. And could Kenneth Stokes be next up if Chokeway starts to talk about everything? Because you facing life. What you got to lose? I might as well tell the whole spiel and take everybody down.
You know what? If Kenneth Stokes get involved,
Take everybody down.
When I tell you that would be to me the biggest disappointment in Jackson.
I ain't surprised about nothing no more.
It would disappoint the crap.
I ain't surprised
But
by
think about
nothing.
it though. This is a valid point. Who was the one pushing Richards?
Chokeway.
Who was the one that was against it until the very end? He on news. He said we will be endorsing and accepting the Richard disposal contract.
Was that Aaron?
That was Aaron Banks.
Aaron Banks. He turned.
But
he turned.
Did he not turn on with this? Think about it.
He got bribed.
If it happened how we're assuming it happened with Jody Owens got the offer from the feds, brought it to Chokeway. Chokeway's like, I don't know, make sure I ain't in it. Hey man, I checked them, they good, they're not federal agents. That's that conversation happened. He brought it to him first. Then in turn, I think it went to Aaron Banks next. And then it went to Angelique Lee. Angelique Lee was, of course, the first one indicted. But if you hear her
and guess where she serves at? The Woodley area. The big houses by Callaway.
Yeah.
Chokeway went to Callaway.
Oh, come on.
Are there
Tied
ties
together.
there before? You feel me?
Before.
Like we share a common interest.
Mm-hmm.
You from my section. I know them people in Woodley. My people, Miss Johnson, Miss Banks, Miss Liz. Those are my people.
Right.
You feel me? Like,
Boy,
this shit get deep. Like,
it gets so deep.
You know, you never know. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That just saying, because we know some other stuff happened with Chokeway that could be 100% right.
I don't know.
I don't
man.
know.
That shit crazy.
Just alleged. But
I don't
nonetheless,
know,
though,
man.
I think Aaron Banks in turn then went to Angelique Lee. Angelique Lee was the first one. I feel like they thought that because she's a woman, she's not gonna get that much time if something happened, blah, XYZ, you know. And as studies have shown that women don't get as much time as men do. You know, so if something does happen, she'll be out in blah 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Versus we might get 3 years. You know, so it was brought to her. So when they sent her as the face, oh yeah, blah blah, because she talked to them after she talked to developers after Jody Owens did. It was her. She was like the spokesperson, even though Jody Owens, in my mind, was like the creator of it, the big head, the boss. It was him. So anywho,
I thought Angelique Lee was the one that persuaded the rest of the council people, or Aaron Banks was supposed to persuade the rest of the council people. Angelique Lee was just bought off. I thought
that was
bought
his
off
job.
of her vote.
But she's also on the council.
She was bought off of her vote.
Right. But she was also on the council.
Yeah.
So
which is a vote.
Right. He got to her first. She wanted in. The other ones can be bought off, but you don't have to have any, just say no on the 5th.
See, I was thinking Jody Owens first. Came to Chokeway, told him the deal. He went to Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks told Angelique Lee.
Yeah.
And then Angelique Lee was busted first because they knew that she was a woman and she wouldn't want to do that much time. So you know how they always get the worst one in the car to snitch on the rest of them because they know they weaker? It was a given.
Yeah.
This woman right here, we got her on tap.
Right. You got the biggest leverage
With a woman.
with a woman, but at the same time, she's gonna flip. She's not gonna.
That's what I'm saying.
Think about
I don't
it.
think they went to Angelique Lee and then came to Aaron. I think it trickled.
That's
Because
what I
listen,
said.
listen.
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said they
No,
went
no.
to Chokeway and then he went
No,
to Angelique.
Aaron is who put Angelique Lee on.
Yeah.
But she, in turn, was the one that was talking more to the developers on the she's a woman, flirty, friendly tip. She gonna secure it for
No,
us.
I don't think she would have even had any dealings with the developers.
But she did, though. It's
It
in her
says that.
indictment. Yeah.
She's the one that spoke with him.
Yeah, she spoke with him also. See, I don't know if, part of me is confused because I don't know if she brought it to Jody Owens or Jody Owens brought it to Chokeway, which in turn trickled down
No,
to
they
her.
met Jody Owens in a nightclub. Like a bar setting.
Yeah.
They posed as developers in a nightclub.
Okay.
And that's how they met Jody Owens. See, they brought
So
it
they
to him
brought it
first.
to him first.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And then it went down to Chokeway. And then it
Yeah.
went down to
See,
Aaron.
I'm
And
good.
then it went down to Angelique. See, what
Yeah.
Angelique's part was, she was the one that was bought off for her vote
Yeah.
by giving her a little money. See, that's why they said Aaron Banks was given and promised $50,000 to persuade the rest of them. They used him like they used the boys in Young Dolph case. See, he would have been the Hernandez Govan of the case.
Okay.
See, it would have went from Jody Owens, which would have been
Big U.
Big Jook.
Big Jook.
He would have been the Big Jook.
Right.
Or
I meant that. I didn't mean
or
you.
the Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? He would have been the Jay-Z. And then Chokeway would have been the Big Jook. And then Hernandez
Vice
go,
versa.
listen.
Sure.
What?
I think about
Bro,
it.
Jay-Z is the one that wanted Memphis.
Yeah.
So it would have came through him. Listen,
I
bro.
was thought that it would have been an offer to Jay-Z.
Listen, bro.
Uh-huh.
Hell no. Bro, Jay-Z plays this shit like a fucking maze. He looks at the USA and the world like a maze, right? And not to be on Jay-Z, but he's a capitalist person. He's been groomed to be like this. So he looks at the whole map. He says, I've already took over New York. I've already took over Philadelphia. I got Nip out there on the West Coast. I want Memphis now because I heard there's a huge market for this in Memphis. So what he does is he goes to the people that's instrumental in these cities and he say, hey, I got a deal for you. I want to do this, and this. So the person that would have been instrumental in infiltrating Jackson would have been Jody Owens. So whoever wanted that shit would have went to him and said, hey, Big Jook, I've already went to Young Dolph. He ain't want to do shit. So I'm going to go to Big Jook and I'm going to tell him what the play is. That's Jody Owens. Then Jody Owens would have went down to Chokeway and that would have been Hernandez Govan.
Okay.
You feel me? And I'm going to give you the $100,000 Hernandez Govan, which would have been Chokeway. And then
Aaron Banks was the
you
rapper
feel
dude.
me? The straight drop nigga.
Uh-huh.
And he was supposed to pass out the extra money to the shooters and shit. But they didn't get the money just like Aaron Banks didn't get the money. He didn't get the money just like the shooters did. Remember they got paid $800?
Right.
Aaron Banks was promised $50,000 but only got $10,000. And Angelique Lee was only given what, like $10,000?
$10,000?
You feel me? So it's a repetition of the same play being ran, whether it's for business or whether it's for street shit. You feel me? It's like the same play, bro.
Yeah,
You feel me?
yeah.
Like the streets and politics are coordinated way too motherfucking similar, bro.
And it's just